Hello everybody, thanks for tuning in to today's video. Today's video is going to be a historic video. I'm going to be looking at the tremendous blizzard that took place this day 60 years ago, 29th of March 1952. Now before I get on with the video, I just want to talk about a couple of things. First thing I want to mention is the website where I get these charts from. It's wetterzentraal.de, and these charts I'm going to be using for today's video are from the extensive archive of historic charts. Now I've got historic charts going all the way back to the 1st of January 1871 at Wetterzentraal, and as I say, today's video is going to be from that historic archive. We're going to be looking at 1952. Not only do they have a historic archive going back to 1871, they also have all the major computer models, all the charts, all the major computer models as well. And you can get to Wetterzentraal from gavsweathervids.com. All you've got to do is go to the links page by clicking on the links tab at the bottom of my home page. You'll be able to go through then to the links page. You'll see the link for wetterzentraal.de. Click on that and that will take you to Wetterzentraal, and you'll be able to see all of these charts for yourself. Now the other thing I want to talk about is the advertising that you see around gavsweathervids.com. I'm affiliated to amazon.co.uk. If you want to go to amazon.co.uk for anything at all, just click on the links that you see around my website, click on the ads, that will take you through to amazon.co.uk, and you'll be supporting gavsweathervids.com in that endeavour, and not be able to develop the site more as we go along. Right then, let's have a look at the 29th of March 1952, and I want to start on the 23rd of March 1952, and this was the situation on the 23rd of March 1952. We can see that we've got generally westerly flow across the British Isles, but notice this blocking area of high pressure up here to the north of Scandinavia. That's going to become important as we go through the rest of the charts, and that blocking high is reaching down in towards Scandinavia. And notice also we've got a deep cold pool there across Scandinavia and back into Russia. Now this cold pool was unusually intense for so late on into the spring, and it's not very often when we see such a deep cold pool there across Scandinavia and into Russia. And as I say, this is going to become important as we go on through the charts. Now there's the confirmation of that cold pool. We see we've got 850 temperatures down to -20 there across the west of Russia. That is very intensely cold indeed, and that intense cold pool does extend further back in towards Scandinavia. So this was the situation on the 23rd of March 1952. We've got a generally westerly flow across the country. Low pressure is dominating. It was a very changeable month, March 1952. It was quite unsettled with a fair amount of rain. But as I say, the important thing is that blocking high to the northeast. As we go further on to the 25th of March 1952, we can see that that blocking high is becoming much bigger, much more intense there to the north of Scandinavia. And we've got generally high pressure across much of Scandinavia now, and that high pressure is extending out towards Iceland and into Greenland as well. So quite a big blocking area of high pressure is forming here to the north and to the northeast of the British Isles. The low pressure across the British Isles is slipping away into the continent, and we can see that that blocking high is taking over now, and the winds are backing round to the east. We're already starting to bring some quite cold air in from the north and from the northeast. So as we go to the 26th of March, we can see that that high pressure over Scandinavia and back towards Iceland and Greenland is intensifying all the time, and that is becoming quite a major blocking feature. The low pressure in the Atlantic is being blocked, and we're forming a bit of a cut-off flow actually there in the Atlantic. And it's really all about this blocking area of high pressure to the north and to the northeast, and we've got this deep cold pool still there across much of Scandinavia and back into Russia. Now the 27th of March is when the cold air really started to arrive. We've got the winds now going into the east and to the northeast, and we are pulling in some very cold air from the northeast. So if we have a look at the 850 temperatures on the 27th of March 1952, we can see that we have got cold 850 temperatures across most of the country. We are all within this -5 line, and in fact we're bringing some -10 850 HPA air into the eastern part of the country. And yes, we've still got that very deep and intense cold pool sitting there over Scandinavia and back into the west of Russia as well. As we go into the 28th of March 1952, we can see that high pressure is starting to retrogress a little bit. The centre of the high pressure is actually now forming over Iceland up to 1,030 millibars. But winds are picking up as well from the east. It's bitterly cold wind indeed, and we would be starting to bring in, or we were starting to bring in, some quite heavy snow showers onto the eastern side. Now keep an eye on this low pressure down to the south. This is going to be important as we go into the 29th of March. So this day 60 years ago, we see that we've got that area of low pressure there moving in towards France. We've got very tightly packed isobars there on the northern flank, and that was a gale force easterly wind that was setting in, and it's really this area of low pressure here moving up from the south that was engaging with the blocking high pressure and the cold air, and that's what produced the blizzard. And in fact, it was a tremendous blizzard that we saw across much of central, southern and southeastern parts of England and Wales. Now we can see the reason for that blizzard by having a look at the 850 temperatures. We can see we've got a tremendous gradient there. I hope you can see this tremendous temperature gradient there. We've got -5 covering most of the country. We've got the 0 line there across northern France. We've got the +5 line there across central France. So there was a big temperature gradient here across southern parts of the United Kingdom. And it's that temperature gradient that fueled the low pressure, and the low pressure did prove to be explosive, and it gave a lot of snow across many southern and southeastern parts of the country. Now in London there was 7 centimetres of snow falling on the 29th of March, but you didn't have to go far out of London to find some tremendous snowfalls. There was 25 centimetres of snow falling at Whitstone in Bedfordshire, and in the Chilterns, in the higher ground of the Chilterns, we had gusts, we had drifts of snow up to 8 feet, can you believe? And that was powder snow as well, because the air was very cold. The temperature struggled to get above freezing all day, and that snow was blown around by 70-mile-an-hour gusts from that easterly wind. So it was bitterly cold, and there was a lot of snow, and yes, it did drift, as I say, up to 8 feet of drifts in the parts of the Chilterns. And this was Saturday the 29th of March. This was actually the boat race day, and the boat race was conducted on the Thames in this blizzard. Very few people turned out to view it, and apparently Oxford won, but very few people turned out because the weather was so appalling, and it was one of the worst days for the boat race that there has ever been. Now this blizzard went on further north as we went into the latter part of the 29th and into the 30th, and when we started to see the snow turning back to rain there across the south as that low pressure came further north. But certainly still for Wales, the Midlands, much of Lincolnshire, up into northern England, northeast England, it kept us snow, and we kept that bitterly cold east to northeasterly wind going. But further south it was more in the way of rain and sleet as that milder air began to come up. But generally we've still got in this easterly flow here. It's still very cold, but particularly very cold for the end of March. And there's the confirmation. The 850 temperatures with the pulled that -5 line a little bit further northwards and brought in some slightly less cold air to the southeastern areas, but really the mild air is still across France, and most of the country is in the cold air. And then as we go on into the last day of March 1952, we can see that we were still maintaining that east and northeasterly flow across the country. The low pressures moved away to the east, and we're all in that cold run of north and northeasterly winds. Now this was one of the severest blizzards that's ever been recorded across southern England at the end of March. It's one of the severest spring blizzards on record, and in fact there was still snow on the ground in parts of the Chilterns as we went out into the middle of April, can you believe? Despite the fact that April 1952 was actually a very warm month. It was a really tremendously mild spring once we got this cold weather out of the way. and there was no more cold weather, in fact, through April or May of 1952. But this was certainly a very important weather event, really. It's never been recorded to this severity for this time of the year. And as I say, it was one of the most tremendous blizzards that we had across southern England in the 20th century, or probably in any century actually, for so late on in the season. Anyway, I thought you'd enjoy having a look back at the weather that took place on this day 60 years ago. Hope you did. That's all for now.